What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me.
Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Ongard's room... Ah, da ist er ja. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Haben wir gerade erst angefangen. Think hard about what we just discussed, understood? Alright. That's it. That's when Franziska planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things looked bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence?
What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. We have yet to provide a single piece of definite proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corrida.
Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corrida?
I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering.
But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
Maybe so, or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation.
I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid, definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there's only one thing this court can do.
Oh nein, will, dass wir weiter nachforschen, aber dann verlieren wir, dann haben wir müssen doch alles an diesem Tag schaffen.
And that is to declare a recess.
Recess?
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter. And at tomorrow's trial...
Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Ja, aber was willst du denn jetzt noch sagen? Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial... Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya...
But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. No, then, this court is...
Huh? It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Oh?
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you...
It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination, however. If the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Hilft uns.
Yes, that is very true, but...
Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews. When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want you to cite that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request Let the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. Ah, okay, er macht's andersherum. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know.
The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.
Okay. Mal sehen. When I found the body. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours?
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Okay, ich habe keine Ahnung. Ich meine, sie sagt ja, sie hat die Vase danach umgeschmissen. Spricht da irgendwas auf dem Foto dagegen? Wo ist das Foto? Das war hier, oder? Der Gitarrenkoffer ist offen. Da steht das Glas. Also ich würde sagen, erstmal, der Gitarrenkoffer war ja nass von außen, nicht von innen. Das hatten wir letztes Mal schon. Das heißt, als sie die Vase umgekippt hat, muss er ja zu gewesen sein. Und trotzdem war der auf dem Crime-Foto dann offen. Ob es vielleicht irgendwie darauf nochmal hinausläuft? Pressen wir mal. But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not. Then who did you pour it for? Mr. Wright, there's a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you? In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Ugh. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. So it was a mess. Are you sure it was messy because of your fight with Mr. Corrida? I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. And then, what did you see next, witness? And Juan was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. Bis auf das Messer in der Brust. Moment, ist es vielleicht das Messer? Vielleicht ist es das, klar, vielleicht ist es das, also ich glaube, es ist das Foto mit dem Messer in der Brust. Ich meine, wie würde man denn bitte schon jemanden mit einem Messer in der Brust vorfinden und sagen, ach ja, der schläft halt nur, ne? Also ich geb mal ein bisschen Tomatensaft, dann geht's ihm schon wieder gut. Is it just me or did that right there sound a little odd? When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. Yeah, bullshit. I call bullshit on that right here. There. Ha. Das kann ja nur dann richtig sein, dass, also, es kann ja sein, es ist ja oft so, dass sie nicht lügen, sondern es nur eben, was sie aussagen, auf der Sache basiert, die sie wirklich gesehen haben. Das heißt, wenn sie das Messer da reingesteckt hat, hinterher, könnte es natürlich sein, dass sie ihn eben ohne Messer gesehen hat und gedacht hat, der schläft nur. Aber heißt das dann, dass sie ihn nicht umgebracht hat? So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body?
Ah! What is the meaning of this?
Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Carrera's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that he was a dead man.
Well, you see...
I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted and then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink.
Your point is...
Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lie has proved one thing very clearly, that you are the real killer. No.
It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt aRdW, is not guilty after all.
That's impossible. You're wrong.
Miss Andrews, try to have some composure.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan.
But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself.
That's because...
Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you?
I refuse to testify.
Not really helping yourself here.
Then there's no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt aRdW's innocence has been clearly demonstrated.
Oh, is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't.
Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt aRdW.
Huh? Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
What?
The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth.
The absolute real truth? What are you...
Witness, don't you understand yet?
Huh?
I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt aRdW will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party.
That's a lie. I don't believe you.
What?
I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty.
What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it?
I can't speak about it. I'm too scared.
It's Franziska von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt aRdW will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging on to them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get her not guilty. That is my only priority.
It wasn't me. I'm begging you, please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please. Someone help me.
Huh.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
The court can't continue like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do.
What I intend to... What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right, I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Oh. Irgendwie fühlt sich das nicht richtig an, ne? Aber Maya... Aber... Ah, I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding.
Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Sure, Mr. Ongard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end?
Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me.
That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth.
You're wrong.
Oh, was jetzt? What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this, however...
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court.
Stop.
Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness.
What?
And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past.
Stop. Please stop.
No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. It's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I am about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world.
Please stop. I beg you. Let people find out. People find out.
If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips, no matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me.
I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore.
Now what?
When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room, and then I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience, and that's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume.
Inconvenience, wahrscheinlich Miss Oldbag.
Stab the body with the knife? But why would you do that?
Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man.
What do you mean by all of this?
It might take this court a little while to understand, but... this is the truth.
The real killer is Matt, that scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time.
Last time? So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corridor, in the chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt Ongard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer?
Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination.
Okay. Ich muss mal so einen Anti-Heiserkeitsbonbon lutschen.
When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest.
But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead?
He had a scarf tied around his neck, but that scarf is part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice.
What is this plan you had?
I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt.
So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the bottle.
The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife.
Ah, okay, deswegen ist sie zurück zu Matts Zimmer gegangen, verstehe. That was so you could get the knife, correct?
The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime.
So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife.
It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then, when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect.
So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Ongard's hakama?
Yes, that's what I had planned to do. Things never go that smoothly, do they?
Dann kam die Inconvenience. An inconvenience.
There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway.
I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. Nicht eher Oldback? Die hat ihr doch die Kamera geklaut, oder? Oh, es waren beide da.
There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth.
That's Miss Oldback for you.
I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. That's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume.
You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you?
Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the awards ceremony.
You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct?
Yes. Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there.
Ach genau, der wollte sich als Matt verkleiden, so tun, als wäre er Matt. Und bei der Konferenz, von der Matt nichts wusste, irgendwas verraten?
And what is this secret?
That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume.
I think we've heard enough. So, after that, you went back to Mr. Ongard's room and planted the button.
Into Matt's hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it.
Oh, my word, what does all this mean?
Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Ongard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk.
Franziska, huh?
She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words.
What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer.
Der ändert seine Meinung wohl auch andauernd. Oh, wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything.
Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over. So is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright.
But...
Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning.
Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately.
That is all. Court is adjourned for today.
Oh, shit. Tschüss, Maya. War schön mit dir. Diese Welt, selbst wenn jetzt noch jemand urplötzlich Objection ruft, der Richter ist ja nicht mal mehr da. Nice knowing you, genau. Hoffe, es gefällt dir. Wenigstens hast du einen abgefahrenen Tod, ne? Ich meine, kann ja auch nicht jeder sagen, von Auftragskiller getötet worden zu sein. Today's trial is over. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright, I remembered just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why. Witness, that card. Give it to me. Hurry. Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you have stupidly, yet inadvertently done? This. I can't believe you hid this from me all this time. I didn't mean to... Oh, was ist denn jetzt los? What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card, what in the world is it, and what does it mean?